I secure the final turquoise streamer to the patio railing and step back to examine my work. The yard looks enchanting, honestly. 8 colorful place settings cover the outdoor table, each accompanied by a napkin shaped like a butterfly. The inflatable castle, a $290 expense that strained my budget considerably, sits ready and waiting, its towers shining in the September sun. The unicorn cake from Sophie's favorite cartoon rests on the dessert stand, 8 candles positioned perfectly. Beautiful, I murmur to myself. I check my phone yet again. 11:38. Rebecca and my 2 siblings should have arrived already. They committed to arriving early for setup assistance, but that commitment vanished like fog as usual. The patio door slides open, and Sophie rushes outside, spinning in her new party dress. The emerald fabric, her signature shade, catches the light as she twirls. "Mama, is everyone here? Is everyone here?" She bounces excitedly, then stops abruptly. Her gaze sweeps the vacant yard, searching for familiar faces. Where's Nana and Aunt Victoria and Aunt Jessica? Is Tyler coming too? Have they noticed the castle yet? I inject cheerfulness into my tone. They're coming soon, darling. Just delayed a bit. Sophie's expression drops momentarily before she reconstructs her enthusiasm. "All right, I'll watch from the living room window," she announces. She races back inside and I chew my lip until it stings. I should have anticipated they wouldn't appear promptly, or perhaps at all. The doorbell sounds and I hear Sophie's delighted squeal from within. I rush to the front entrance just as my daughter's face crumbles when she discovers only Aunt Patricia standing there, a wrapped package under her arm. "Happy celebration, sweetheart," Patricia says, bending to embrace Sophie. My daughter returns the hug but looks past Patricia's shoulder, examining the empty driveway. "Is Nana with you?" Patricia rises, her eyes finding mine above Sophie's head. Something resembling frustration crosses her features before she smiles at my daughter. "I traveled alone today, honey, but check out what I got you." She presents Sophie the gift, wrapped beautifully with a ribbon that must have required 30 minutes to create. That's Aunt Patricia, always considering the small touches. "Thank you," Sophie responds, her voice quieter now. She presses the box to her chest and glances back toward me. "Mama, should I add this to the gift table?" "Definitely, sweetie. Everything's set up outside." As Sophie vanishes into the house, Patricia enters and shuts the door. "Rebecca and the others aren't showing up, are they?" she asks directly. My phone vibrates in my pocket before I can reply. I retrieve it, knowing what awaits. "Don't overreact. It's only a child's celebration. We'll compensate at Thanksgiving." My mother's message glows on the display. "Only a child's celebration. Only my child's celebration." "I'm assuming that answers your question," Patricia observes, watching my expression harden. She squeezes my shoulder. "I'm truly sorry, Harper." The doorbell chimes again, sparing me from responding. Parents begin delivering classmates, 7 little girls in festive outfits, clutching gift bags and birthday wishes. My neighbor from the corner house shows up with extra chairs and a cooler filled with drinks. 3 houses over, Mrs. Chen contributes an additional platter of snacks and a compassionate smile. For the following hour, I navigate the celebration feeling submerged, capturing photos, distributing cake, monitoring the inflatable castle. Throughout everything, Sophie continues watching the gate, her eyes illuminating whenever it opens, then fading when another classmate enters instead of her grandmother. "When is Nana coming? And Aunt Victoria and Aunt Jessica and Tyler?" she inquires for perhaps the 12th time, pulling my sleeve as I replenish the refreshment bowl. "I'm uncertain, sweetheart," I respond, smoothing her hair. "But observe all your friends who arrived to celebrate you." She nods and returns to the castle, but the droop in her posture reveals everything. This isn't the initial time my relatives have disappointed her. And something in her 8-year-old mind understands it won't be the final time. My thoughts drift to last Thanksgiving when I exhausted my credit card purchasing gifts for everyone. $920 worth of presents I couldn't manage because family is important. 4 months back, I paid Victoria's boutique rent when she fell short. $1,730 that I've never recovered and likely never will. Harper can manage it. They constantly say she's skilled with finances. Skilled with finances. As if that magically translates to having surplus money. Since Dad departed when I was 19, Rebecca has treated me like a personal item. "You're the foundation of this family now," she proclaimed the morning after he left, as though his exit elevated me to his role of financial supporter. My phone alerts with a notification. I glance down and my stomach turns. Victoria has shared on social media a photograph of her, Rebecca, Jessica, and Tyler raising champagne glasses at some upscale brunch location downtown. The caption states, "Blood is everything. Blood is everything, correct, Rebecca." Sophie's voice penetrates my thoughts. She's positioned near the present table, encircled by her friends, prepared to unwrap gifts. I pocket my phone and force a smile. Coming birthday girl. The girls gather as Sophie tears into her presents. She expresses gratitude to each friend with authentic joy. But when all the gifts are opened, she looks toward me, her voice trembling faintly. Did Nana forget my birthday? The question pierces directly through my heart. I open my mouth, seeking words that refuse to come when Aunt Patricia intervenes. "Your grandmother has a forgetful memory occasionally," she says, winking at Sophie. "But that simply means you might receive a surprise another day." Sophie brightens somewhat at this prospect, and the moment transitions as the girls rush back to the castle for one final jump before their parents arrive. Patricia grips my hand. "This isn't acceptable, honey." I nod, not trusting my voice. When the final classmate has departed, I withdraw to the kitchen with a stack of dishes, allowing silent tears to fall as I wash each one. Through the window, I observe Aunt Patricia helping Sophie experiment with her new sidewalk chalk. Their heads inclined together over a rainbow forming on the pavement. My phone vibrates again. Another message from Rebecca. "Need $380 for an urgent situation. Can you send it now?" The dish in my hands fractures as I grip it excessively. I stare at the message at the timestamp. 3:52 p.m. Directly during the celebration she couldn't bother attending. Something within me fractures too. A barrier I've been reinforcing for years. I place the broken fragments down, dry my hands, and examine the message a moment longer. The time for tears has concluded. 7 days later, my phone buzzes against the counter while I'm preparing Sophie's lunch. A peanut butter sandwich sliced into hearts, strawberry pieces arranged in a pattern, and a note with a tiny smiley face. Small actions to demonstrate she matters. The phone buzzes repeatedly. The family group message. I wipe my hands on a towel and pick it up. My stomach already clenching. 7 days since Sophie's birthday catastrophe, and I've barely received a word from any of them. The screen illuminates with my mother's message. Wonderful announcement. Victoria's Milestone 16 venue is booked. $1,930 per attendee with Harper covering Nana's portion since she's on limited income. Information attached. I nearly drop my phone. Milestone 16 Victoria is 27 years old. Rebecca means milestone 27. Jessica explains in the following message. Theme is second opportunity at Suite 16 since her actual one was at the community hall. My fingers shake as I open the attached document. There, displayed in glossy color, is a sponsorship document with my professional profile picture prominently featured under platinum sponsor Harper Bennett. What the? I suppress the word, conscious of Sophie's small footsteps approaching down the hallway. Another text arrives from Jessica. Harper, you're the financial analyst. Just process the deposit. Deadline this weekend. Not a request, an order. Sophie materializes in the doorway, puzzle piece in hand. Can you help me with the castle? In a moment, sweetheart. My voice sounds unusual, distant even to myself. I watch her shuffle back to her room, shoulders slumped in that manner that's becoming excessively familiar. Just like at her birthday celebration. Just like every time my relatives make commitments they never honor. After Sophie's door clicks closed, I sit at the kitchen table and open my financial app. The balance stares back at me. $4,387.63. Every cent allocated for Sophie's dental work next month. On the counter sits the stack of medical invoices from when she fractured her wrist 3 years ago. Insurance covered most, but the $1,350 deductible had emptied my emergency reserve. I'd sold Grandmother Rose's silver bracelet, the only heirloom I possessed, to cover the urgent care visit. Grandmother Rose, who taught me to budget when I was 11, who'd be appalled to witness how her daughter treats her granddaughter. My budget spreadsheet is open on my laptop, color-coded, accurate to the cent. Rent $1,125. Utilities $203.48. Groceries $465. Car payment $347.92. After-school program $265. The margins are razor thin, but we survive. Our modest 2-bedroom isn't luxurious, but I've made it a sanctuary. Clean, maintained, secure. I scroll through old payment requests from my relatives. Last month, $720 for Victoria's boutique. Emergency. Month prior, $465 for Rebecca's new outdoor furniture. Thanksgiving $920 for family presents. None repaid. None even recognized beyond a quick thanks sis message. My mother Rebecca has perfected the craft of financial manipulation. She brandishes guilt like a credit card without restrictions. After all, I sacrificed raising you children alone. She'll claim, conveniently overlooking it was her constant spending that pushed Dad away. Victoria, my youngest sibling at 27, operates a boutique that loses money faster than she can style hair. Every crisis is urgent, requiring immediate funds. Every loan is just until next paycheck, but somehow next paycheck never arrives. Then there's Jessica, 25, calculating and drowning in credit card debt from online shopping binges she can't afford. Somehow her financial problems always become my financial solutions. The doorbell rings, startling me from my thoughts. I've got it. Sophie calls, running to answer before I can stop her. I hear Aunt Patricia's warm voice in the entryway. Hello, sunshine. Is your mama home? Patricia steps into the kitchen, arms loaded with a casserole dish, her eyes narrowing at my expression. What happened? She asks, setting down the food. I wordlessly turn my phone toward her. She reads the message, her mouth tightening into a thin line. They've got some audacity, she mutters, sinking into a chair beside me. After missing her birthday. No, they had brunch instead, I say flatly. I saw the social media post. Patricia reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. Your mother has always been this way, even when we were young, but you don't have to keep participating. A knock at the back door interrupts us. Mrs. Chen, my 73-year-old neighbor, waves through the window. I gesture her in. Brought you some lemon bread, she says, then pauses, reading the atmosphere. Bad timing. Family drama, Patricia explains. Mrs. Chen nods knowingly. She's been bringing me meals since Sophie was born, offering guidance without criticism. She witnessed how frequently I missed work when family emergencies occurred. Observed the parade of relatives requesting favors but never reciprocating. Your colleague Marcus called, Mrs. Chen says. Something about covering your shift tomorrow if necessary. Said to relay he's returning the favor. Marcus, always willing to exchange shifts when Rebecca demands my presence for some crisis. One of the rare people who actually reciprocates. Sophie stands in the doorway clutching a paper. Can I display this on the fridge? It's a school drawing labeled my family. Just two stick figures holding hands. Me and her. My throat constricts as I accept the picture. Course baby. While I'm locating a magnet, I notice the stack of thank you notes on the counter, handwritten by Sophie herself for each friend who attended her birthday. Each one decorated with careful crayon hearts. That night, after tucking Sophie in, I pass her room and hear her small voice. God, please make Nana like me more. Something within me shatters. Back at my laptop, I discover an email I wasn't supposed to see, forwarded accidentally by the venue. The contract for Victoria's milestone 16 was signed 4 weeks ago, before Sophie's birthday. They'd known all along they wouldn't be attending. I open a folder on my desktop and create a spreadsheet. Every payment request for the past 3 years. Total makes me dizzy. $24,680. My calendar shows 16 vacation days used for family events, hospital visits when Victoria had minor surgery, helping Rebecca redecorate, driving Jessica to job interviews she never attended. 0 days when any of them watched Sophie while I worked overtime. I opened social media. Rebecca has posted a family photograph with the caption, "So blessed with my daughters." The picture has been cropped. I was standing at the edge, removed completely. The anger rises in me, not hot and explosive, but cold and clarifying. For the first time in years, I see the pattern with perfect clarity. I pick up my phone and open my payment app. The next day, I stare at the payment app on my phone, fingers poised above the screen as though defusing an explosive. The kitchen chair creaks beneath me as I straighten my posture. My mother's latest demand glares from my email inbox. $1,930 for Victoria's milestone 16 with me covering Nana's share since she's on limited income. As if my income stretches indefinitely. The audacity burns through me like acid. They skipped Sophie's birthday to plan this extravaganza. In the next room, I hear my daughter humming to herself, arranging her stuffed animals for a tea party. No cousins, no grandmother, just fabric friends who never disappoint her. I tap the screen and create a new payment. The recipient field fills with my mother's name, and I enter the amount. $1. In the memo line I type a single word. Congratulations. My thumb hovers over the blue confirmation button. One press and everything changes. I think of Sophie's face at her celebration, watching the gate, waiting for relatives who never arrived. Press send. The confirmation appears instantly. I take a screenshot and save it to a new folder on my phone labeled limits. My lungs expand fully for what feels like the first time in years. The kitchen walls seem to widen around me. Mama, can we have spaghetti tonight? Sophie calls from the living room. Absolutely, I answer, my voice steadier than it's been in months. By noon, I've made 3 phone calls that should have happened years ago. The locksmith arrives at 2:20, a stocky man named Frank, who whistles through his teeth as he replaces both front and back locks. The invoice reads $195, less than a single small favor my siblings typically request. All set, ma'am, Frank says, handing me 2 shiny keys. No one gets in without these. Now, while Sophie naps on the couch, I create a spreadsheet documenting every loan my relatives haven't repaid over the past 3 years. The total makes my stomach clench. $24,680. Enough for a reliable used car or a year of community college or dental work for Sophie with money remaining for a family vacation. My phone buzzes incessantly throughout the afternoon. I silence it after the 25th text. Instead, I draft an email to the venue hosting Victoria's event, attaching screenshots of correspondence proving I never authorized using my name or business credentials as a platinum sponsor. The venue manager responds within an hour, apologizing for the confusion and confirming my name will be removed immediately. By evening, Sophie and I sit at our small kitchen table twirling spaghetti and watching cartoons on the portable television. She laughs at something silly on screen, tomato sauce dotting her chin. This is enough, I think. We are enough. The doorbell rings at 8:53 p.m. Through the peephole, I see my mother flanked by both siblings. Their faces contort with barely contained fury. Harper Bennett, open this door immediately. My mother's voice carries easily through the wood. I step back as the pounding begins. The new deadbolt holds firm. Is that Nana? Sophie appears behind me, her eyes wide. Yes, but she forgot to call before visiting, I say calmly. It's too late for guests tonight. More banging. The doorbell chimes repeatedly. You can't hide in there forever, Victoria shouts. After everything we've done for you. My phone illuminates with texts. You're betraying this family. How dare you embarrass us with the venue? What kind of daughter acts like this? Through the peephole, I watch Mr. Patterson from across the street step onto his porch, arms crossed. The Rodriguez family peers through their blinds. My relatives have become a spectacle, but for once, I'm not scrambling to fix it. Should we let them in? Sophie whispers, clutching my leg. No, honey. Remember our talk about people respecting our home. This isn't respectful behavior. The flash of police lights bathes the living room in blue. I close my eyes briefly. Of course they called the police. When I open the door, Officer Thompson stands on my porch. I recognize him. He coached Sophie's soccer team last spring. Evening, Miss Bennett, he says. His expression professional but kind. We received a call about a family dispute. Something about threats and a family heirloom being withheld. Behind him, my mother puffs up like a peacock. She's refusing to return property that belongs to our family, she announces, and she's sent threatening messages. I feel Sophie's small hands gripping the back of my sweater as she hides behind my legs. Her stuffed rabbit clutched to her chest. May I come in for a moment? Officer Thompson asks quietly. At my kitchen table I show him everything. The texts, the emails, the receipts, the screenshot of my $1 payment. I've been financially supporting them for years without repayment, I explain. I changed my locks today because I'm establishing boundaries. There are no heirlooms, no threats, just me saying no for the first time. Officer Thompson reviews the evidence. His eyebrows rising occasionally. When he finishes, he leans back in the chair. They're used to you taking care of everything, he says. Now you're changing the rules. That's always difficult for people to accept. He returns to the porch where my relatives wait, their certainty visibly diminishing as he speaks to them. Minutes later, they retreat to their cars, my mother's finger jabbing in my direction before they drive away. After checking the locks twice, I find Sophie sitting on her bed, small legs dangling over the edge. Mama, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Am I not important enough? Is that why Nana and my aunts didn't come to my birthday? The question knocks the wind from me. I kneel to meet her eyes, taking her small hands in mine. No, sweetheart. You are the most important thing in the world. That's exactly why I have to protect you from people who don't value us. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. Another text from my mother. You'll regret this. Family is everything. I delete it without responding and tuck her into bed, pulling her comforter up to her chin. It's just us two, I tell her, smiling genuinely for the first time in days, and that's plenty. After she falls asleep, I check my phone one last time. A text from Aunt Patricia appears. You did the right thing. They're furious, but truth is on your side. Another message from Mrs. Chen next door. Those brownies cooling on my counter aren't going to eat themselves. You fought the right fight today. My colleague Marcus. Need extra shifts to rebuild savings. I can swap Tuesday for your Saturday. An email from Sophie's teacher. She seems happier this week. Everything okay at home? I set my phone aside and breathe deeply. The house feels different tonight. Lighter somehow, as if the walls have stopped pressing inward. I've been so focused on building a family that I never noticed a community forming around us. brick by brick, person by person. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. But tonight, for once, I sleep without the weight of impossible expectations crushing my chest. My phone buzzes at 6:35 a.m., jolting me awake before my alarm. I squint at the screen, my stomach dropping when I see Victoria's name. Not a text, a social media notification. Victoria Allen mentioned you in a post. I tap the notification with my thumb, already knowing what I'll find. Her profile loads, revealing a paragraph-long status update. When toxic people show their true colors. Some folks pretend to care about family until they're asked to contribute. Then suddenly they're too good for the rest of us. Guess money means more than memories to certain people. 19 comments already. Most from extended relatives and high school friends I haven't spoken to in years. So sorry you're going through this, sweetie. Blood isn't always thicker than water. You're better off without negative energy in your life. I scroll through the comments, each one a tiny needle. Nobody asking for my side. Nobody questioning why I might have sent that $1. Just automatic assumption that I'm the villain in this story. The bedroom door creaks open and Sophie peeks in, hair tousled from sleep. Mama, are you okay? I lock my phone and paste on a smile. Fine, sweetheart. Just checking emails. She believes me, thank goodness, and pads back to her room. I wait until her door clicks shut before opening social media again, my finger hovering over the comment box. Paragraphs form in my head. Explanations, defenses, receipts, evidence stretching back years. Instead I type 5 words. I wish you all well. Then I log off, shut down the app and slide out of bed. The kitchen feels different this morning, lighter somehow. Despite the social media assault, I pour cereal for Sophie, make coffee, check her backpack for homework. Normal routines that suddenly feel revolutionary without the weight of pending family demands. My phone rings while I'm washing dishes, a number I don't recognize, but the area code is familiar. I almost let it go to voicemail, then answer at the last second. Harper, it's your Uncle Daniel. My father's brother, a ghost from another lifetime. Uncle Daniel, I haven't heard from you since my high school graduation. No. His voice sounds older, rougher. I heard what happened with Rebecca and the girls. My shoulders tense. Oh. Small town. Plus, your mother called me trying to recruit allies, I suspect. A dry chuckle rumbles through the speaker. Thought you might like to know you're not the first person she's done this to. The dish I'm rinsing nearly slips from my fingers. What do you mean? Why do you think your father left? 20 minutes later, I'm sitting at the kitchen table staring at a photo Uncle Daniel texted me. Dad at my 6th birthday celebration. Eyes hollow, shoulders curled inward. The same expression I've seen in my own mirror for years. History repeating itself, Uncle Daniel had said. She drained him for years. Then she moved on to you. The doorbell interrupts my thoughts. I open it to find Mrs. Chen from 3 houses down holding a casserole dish. Chicken and rice, she says, pushing it into my hands before I can object. The ladies from Street Watch will be by with more tomorrow. Mrs. Chen, that's really not. We've all been watching, she cuts me off, her voice firm but kind. Some of us have been exactly where you are. Family can be wonderful or it can be quicksand. Before I can respond, she touches my arm. There's a rotation of us keeping an eye out when certain cars drive by. Just so you know. She leaves before I can thank her properly, the warmth of the casserole dish seeping into my palms. I place it on the counter and notice an envelope that must have been tucked underneath. Inside is a $220 gift card with a simple note. For Sophie's needs. No name, no strings attached, just kindness without expectation of return. The contrast knocks the wind from me. I sink onto a kitchen chair, tears blurring my vision. These neighbors owe me nothing. We exchange waves at mailboxes and occasional small talk about weather. Yet here they are forming a protective circle while blood relatives wage digital war. That evening after Sophie's asleep, I pull out my budget spreadsheet. For the first time in years, I recalculate without factoring in family emergencies. The numbers shift before my eyes, revealing an extra $815 monthly that's been disappearing into the black hole of my relatives' demands. $815. Enough for Sophie's dental work with some left over. Enough for the education account I've been dreaming about since she started kindergarten. Enough for a modest vacation at the lake this summer, where she can make memories that don't include waiting for relatives who never show up. I stare at the numbers, my breathing growing steadier with each inhale. Then I open a browser and research savings accounts for education. 25 minutes later, I've opened one in Sophie's name with a small initial deposit. Start a seed. The next morning, grocery shopping feels different. I study prices out of habit, but realize I'm not calculating each item with the razor-thin margins of before. At the checkout, I splurge on a bunch of daisies, $6.50, for no reason except they're pretty and will make our dining table cheerful. This small rebellion against scarcity brings a smile to my face that lasts all day. Saturday morning, Sophie wanders into the living room while I'm folding laundry. She's wearing her favorite pajamas, the ones with stars that are getting too small, but she refuses to give up. "Aren't we going to Aunt Victoria's party today?" she asks, casual as can be. My hands freeze mid-fold. "What?" "The milestone 16 party. I saw it on your calendar before." She shrugs. "Taylor from school is going. Her mom is friends with Nana." The familiar guilt surges through me, bitter as copper. Should I reconsider? Am I being too harsh? The questions cycle through my head, old programming trying to reassert control. Then Sophie adds, "I don't really want to go anyway. Those parties are boring. You have to wear itchy clothes and smile all the time." Decision made. How about we go to the park instead? The basketball courts should be empty this early. Her face lights up. "Can we get ice cream after?" "Absolutely." Hours later, we're sitting in a booth at Dairy Dream, sharing a $7.50 sundae. Chocolate fudge drips down Sophie's chin as she giggles about beating me at horse. Her happiness is unfettered, genuine in a way I rarely saw at family gatherings where she walked on eggshells, desperate for attention that never came. A woman at the next table smiles at us. "Would you like me to take your picture?" I hesitate, then hand her my phone. She captures us mid-laugh, ice cream and all, our faces pressed together. When she returns the phone, I study the photo. Messy, imperfect, radiantly happy. Nothing like the posed family portraits my mother insists on each Thanksgiving, where everyone holds strange smiles and calculated positions. "I like this way better than a fancy party," Sophie declares, diving back into the sundae. "So do I realize. Do I?" My phone chimes with a text from Aunt Patricia that night. I dry my hands on a dish towel and tap the notification. "You dodged a bullet." Her message reads, "Milestone 16 disaster. Complete train wreck." I sink into a kitchen chair, torn between curiosity and relief. My thumb hovers over the call button, but Patricia beats me to it. The phone rings and I answer. "What happened?" I ask, voice hushed so Sophie won't hear from her bedroom. Patricia's laugh crackles through the speaker. "Where do I start? They seated your mother next to the smoke machine. You know how her asthma acts up. She spent half the night coughing and complaining." Course she did. I can picture her dramatically waving her hand in front of her face, making sure everyone notices her discomfort. Victoria fought with the DJ over every song. The poor man looked ready to unplug everything and walk out. Patricia lowers her voice. And when the bill came, Rebecca's face turned whiter than that fancy tablecloth. Suddenly nobody could make eye contact. I wind the dish towel around my finger. "How much was it?" "Let's just say they went way over budget without your platinum sponsorship." They kept glancing at the empty chair where you were supposed to sit, like they'd saved a spot for your wallet. A small vindicated smile tugs at my lips before guilt squashes it. I shouldn't be happy about their misfortune. It's not misfortune when you design a party around someone else's bank account, Patricia says firmly. It's consequence. The next morning, I'm organizing files at work when a shadow falls across my desk. I look up to find my mother standing there wearing her Sunday dress. We need to talk, she says, loud enough that my coworkers glance over. My stomach drops, but I keep my voice level. This isn't appropriate, Rebecca. I'm working. She sets her purse on my desk, covering the spreadsheet I've been updating for the past hour. Family comes first. I stand, guiding her toward the break room with a light touch on her elbow. 10 minutes, I whisper. Inside, she launches into a speech about forgiveness and family duty that sounds rehearsed. I recognize pieces of Pastor Wallace's sermons woven throughout. Speaking of Pastor Wallace, she says, adjusting her pearl earrings. He called me after service today. He's concerned about our family division. Said reconciliation is God's way. I stare into my lukewarm coffee. Did you tell him why we're divided? She waves dismissively. Details don't matter when family is involved. They matter to me. That evening, an envelope waits in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, a handwritten note reads, "Children need their grandmother. Think about what you're doing to Sophie." The next day, Victoria's husband calls. Just give them what they want, he pleads. Peace is worth the money, Harper. Then comes the Thanksgiving invitation. Cream cardstock with gold embossing. A handwritten note at the bottom. Water under the bridge if you contribute $830 for the venue. I place it on the counter beside Sophie's school photo. Her smile has returned these past weeks, brighter than before. After tucking Sophie into bed that night, I sit at the kitchen table with an old family photo in my hands. Thanksgiving 8 years ago. Dad was still with us then. Rebecca hadn't yet assigned me his financial responsibilities. We're all smiling, though I remember the argument that erupted 10 minutes after this was taken when Dad questioned the credit card bill. My phone sits beside me. Rebecca's number highlighted. One tap would reconnect us. One call could smooth everything over. Just another check, another withdrawal from my savings. Another promise I'd make to Sophie that I'd have to break when their next emergency arose. Sophie's voice echoes in my memory. Am I not important enough? I place the old photo in a drawer and replace it with her school picture. The girl with the confident smile deserves better than what I had. The next morning I draft a letter. Not an emotional plea, but a documented history. Every loan, every missed event, every broken promise with dates and amounts. Terms for future contact laid out in clinical precision. Boundaries with consequences spelled out in language even Victoria could understand. I make copies, one for Rebecca, one for each sibling. One for Pastor Wallace with a cover note explaining the financial manipulation he's been unknowingly supporting. The final sentence takes me 3 attempts to write. This isn't about money, it's about respect. I sign each copy, slide them into envelopes, and send them certified mail. 2 days later, a small envelope arrives, addressed to Sophie. The return address belongs to Bethany Thompson, a classmate who couldn't attend her birthday celebration. Sophie tears it open at the kitchen table, her eyes widening at the handmade card covered in glitter and stickers. Sorry I couldn't come. Happy 8th birthday, she reads aloud. She tilts the card and $3 bills flutter to the table. A note explains. For ice cream. I'm saving up for a bike but wanted you to have this. Sophie handles the money like it's made of glass. Mama, can we get ice cream tomorrow? Course we can. She carefully places the card on our refrigerator, straightening it 3 times until it's perfect. This is the best card ever, she declares. I watch her skip off to her room, the $3 clutched in her hand. $3 from a child saving for a bike. Worth more than all the hollow promises my relatives ever made. The phone rings that evening. Nana's number. I almost let it go to voicemail, but answer on the final ring. Harper, you need to fix things, she says without greeting. Your mother and siblings are fighting constantly since that letter arrived. About what? Money. What else? Your mother says Victoria pushed too hard with that milestone 16 business. Victoria says Jessica promised you'd cover more than your share. They're all blaming each other for driving you away. I close my eyes, familiar pressure building behind my temples. For a moment, I'm tempted to step in to mediate as I've always done. Instead, I take a deep breath. I'm not responsible for fixing adult relationships. But you've always been the sensible one, Nana insists. Yes, I say, watching Sophie through her bedroom doorway as she arranges her stuffed animals for a tea party. That's why I'm making a different choice now. I balance on a wobbly step ladder, roller in hand, as soft yellow paint transforms our living room wall. 2 months since I sent that $1 payment, and the world hasn't ended. In fact, it's gotten brighter, literally. Mama, you missed a spot. Sophie points with her brush to a patch near the ceiling. Her purple t-shirt bears splatter marks like tiny yellow stars. Got it, eagle eyes. I stretch higher, rolling paint over the stubborn white square. What do you think? Better than the old beige? Way better, Sophie says, attacking the baseboards with the focus of a surgeon. It's like sunshine inside. The front door opens and Marcus from work pokes his head in, carrying a bookshelf under one arm like it weighs nothing. Special delivery, he announces. Where do you ladies want this? By the window, I say, climbing down. You didn't have to build it yourself. Marcus shrugs. What else would I do with my weekends? Watch golf. His laughter fills our small house, a sound that once would have made me tense, expecting my mother's judgment about male visitors. Now I just smile and help him position the oak shelves where afternoon light will hit them. Later, Sophie arranges her books by color while I stand back, admiring our handiwork. The calendar on the fridge catches my eye. Movie night written in Sophie's crooked handwriting for Friday. Park day for Sunday. No family obligations, no emergency loans. The tension I carried in my shoulders for years has melted away, leaving room to breathe. Mrs. Chen called, Sophie says, carefully placing her Harry Potter collection on the middle shelf. She wants to know if I can come over tomorrow for knitting lessons. Do you want to go? Sophie nods, her eyes bright. She says I have natural talent. Then absolutely. I tuck a strand of hair behind her ear, leaving a smudge of yellow paint on her cheek. Sorry about that. She giggles, deliberately touching my nose with her paintbrush. Now we match. 2 weeks later, Sophie stands in front of her 3rd grade class holding a poster board titled My Hero. Her teacher, Mrs. Langston, emailed me about the project, but I wasn't prepared for the lump in my throat when Sophie unveils her work. 2 stick figures hold hands against a crayon sunset. Above them, careful letters spell out, "My mama taught me that love doesn't hurt." That evening, a note arrives from Mrs. Langston. Sophie seems so much more confident these days. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. I place the note on our refrigerator with a magnet shaped like a sunflower, right next to Sophie's drawing. Christmas cards arrive, including one with my mother's handwriting. Inside, guilt drips from every line. Family should be together during the holidays. We've all made mistakes. Victoria's text arrives next. I miss my niece. Tyler asks about her. Then Jessica emails about a family healing retreat in Arizona. The price tag, $2,550 per person, makes me snort coffee through my nose. I read each message twice, waiting for the familiar twist of shame and obligation in my gut. Nothing comes. Just calm clarity as I type a single response to all 3. We've moved forward. I wish you well. Our Christmas tree stands 4 feet tall in the corner, adorned with popcorn strings and ornaments Sophie crafted at school. The presents beneath it aren't expensive. A new sketchbook, colored pencils, a telescope found at a garage sale, but they're wrapped with care. Each tag written in my best handwriting. Mrs. Chen brings apple cider. Marcus arrives with a casserole that's more cheese than vegetable. Aunt Patricia drives 3 hours to join us, bearing homemade cookies and genuine hugs. I brought something else, Patricia says, handing me a leather-bound album. The first page reads, "Our family of 2" in her elegant script. "It's beautiful," I whisper, touching the embossed cover. "Room to grow," she replies, nodding toward our guests laughing in the kitchen. January finds me joining a support group for single parents at the community center. February has me volunteering at Sophie's school once a month. Uncle Daniel, Dad's brother, sends occasional postcards with encouraging notes from his travels. We're building something new, brick by careful brick. As another September approaches, bringing Sophie's 9th birthday, I plan a simple celebration. A picnic in the park, a homemade cake, friends who actually show up. The mail brings a surprise, a card from my mother containing a crisp $50 bill with no strings attached. No demands, no guilt, just happy birthday, granddaughter signed in shaky script. I consider returning it, then slide it into Sophie's birthday fund instead. Boundaries don't mean cutting people off entirely. They mean controlling the terms of engagement. Tonight, after Sophie falls asleep, I sit at our kitchen table writing in the journal Aunt Patricia gave me for Christmas. The words flow easily. Real family isn't defined by blood, but by the people who show up when it matters. I glance up at our wall where a new photo hangs in a simple frame. Sophie and me flanked by Aunt Patricia, Mrs. Chen, Marcus, and Uncle Daniel at the park last weekend. Below it, a small wooden plaque reads, "Our family." The house is quiet except for Sophie's peaceful breathing from the next room. I close my journal, feeling something I haven't felt in years.